p.m. Pacific time. You can sign up at probateweekly.com if you want to register and get notifications. The purpose of this call is for those of us who are professionals looking to build our business in probate, estate planning, real estate. Well, and typically it's an interview format, most commonly attorneys or services that can help us build our business. Today you have returning, I think he's a 3-time guest actually, really one of my favorites because I really am excited to edit the opportunity he's created. And I think the business is a tool that's right at the alley of those of us who are trying to create value for our customers. George Compton from Executorium, welcome back to Probate Weekly.
Hello, Probate Weekly. Hello, Bill Gross.
So, I know why I like it, but let's go back to the beginning. Why did you form Executorium? This wasn't a job that hired you. This wasn't something that you started your career in, but something that came to you. Tell a little bit about the story that caused you to found Executorium and drives you to build it to this day.
Yeah, well, thank you. It started in my brain because I was an executor and I scrambled around looking for, I don't know, an association, a magazine, some centralized. What was missing, I found there was a void. There was no centralized executor environment, context, organization. There was nothing. You were dependent on your estate attorney and your in New Jersey, there's a surrogate or surrogate court. So that got you about 30% there. Otherwise you're just bumping into stuff, trying to find your way through the all the tasks and the big picture of settling the estate. So went from my head to a yellow pad to a website that scratched the itch, but we just took that down and put up a brand new one that does more than scratch the itch and incorporates all the things we learned from the people that have been using it and trying it out. And so we launched that early in June.
So let's take a quick peek at the website. And again, this is the 2.0 version. So what you can see now is prettier. And you're going to talk a little bit about some of the changes to it. But before we get into the changes, the basic concept is this: the layout of resources for the actual executor of an estate, right? So this isn't designed for an attorney, or it's not designed for necessarily a real estate agent. This is designed for someone in my family passed. What the heck do I do? Where do I start, right?
Exactly. I like to say it's a view of the landscape. I was struck by the fact that, I was like a lot of you folks listening, you're good at what you do, and you become an expert in that. But poof, you're an executor and you're the new guy. Every office you walk into, they're talking a mile a minute. They're explaining things up here, and you really need them to explain things down here. So from that experience, I just felt that some context was needed, a view of the landscape, the environment, so it wasn't such a black box. Any type of information, any resource that I thought might be helpful. And it's an organism. It's a growing organism. It's not complete by any means. It's a process to keep putting things up that will help an executor through. But it is entirely executor point of view. And a lot of service providers can benefit by being on there, by being in front of executors. So there's a symbiosis on the site. And the point is, be a resource for executors.
So the thing I learned from my first coach was you can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. And so the people are going to watch this episode and go, oh, I get a free listing. I'll get business from this. And I'm going to tell you, like anything else in life, you get out of it what you put into it. And so the lay of this resource is 4 pieces here. There's a directory, which everybody who's professional can sign up for, get a listing on, or pay extra, get advertising on. We'll talk about that. Directory of government resources on the right top box. Bottom left box is articles and content, again, written for the executors, written to help them find their way through the process. And then the Athenaeum on the bottom is a curated repository of estate information, links, and other resources. So this is meant to be a research page. So let's take them one at a time. The first one we'll go through, which I think every realtor listening to this call, every attorney, every vendor who services estate planners should be in this directory. Let's talk a little bit. What's your thinking when you design this directory?
Well, I think To be honest, I came from a place of ignorance, not knowing really what you needed on who you needed on your team, what you needed to complete the job at hand. So obviously you needed an estate attorney, or maybe not so obviously. I'd never been an executor before. So you talk to the court and they say, well, you know, you may or may not need an estate attorney, depending on the estate. You talk to the estate attorney, they say you may or may not need an accountant. You may or may not need an appraisal. So anyway, all the way down the list through liquidation, even mediation, through real estate, all these things start to come to mind and to light that, you know, all these professions exist. I'm not in this profession. I'm in this profession over here. I can tell you all about geotechnical engineering and heavy construction and pile driving, but I can't tell you anything about the estate administration world. Right. So I'm the new guy. So the estate service providers directory, aside from just providing people that can help you by county, also educates you as to who's out there. What are the categories that can help you? Who can be on your team as a professional? Certified probate specialist. Had no idea really what that was. So as an example, a good one, that I can help, Executorium can help put that on executors' radars so that you recognize the designation, you know a little bit more about what they can do for you. It's a great resource. Why wouldn't an executor want to know about it? Why wouldn't an executor want to know mediation is an option if you're headed down the litigation highway, or that there's a grief support resource in your county, or, you know, what's the difference between an auction or a estate sale, and what are the advantages of each? So you have choices to make as an executor, and this helps you make good decisions.
So I can tell you personally, I'm in the registration. In fact, you see my picture at the top right as an advertiser, actually. I'm not getting any kind of affiliate income or anything like that. That's not what this is about for me at all.
No.
I'll just put out the first accountant up there is Michael Wander and Co, a CPA, who's an accountant that I used on a administration of a trust. I needed a certain trust to have certain bookkeeping and taxes prepared, and I called Michael. I knew him as a CPA. He went in, did his job. I said, hey, Michael, here's a way you can promote your business to other practitioners, and the listing is free, I believe, still, yes?
Yes, it's still free.
Advertised, but the listings are free. And so I've continued to offer this to other vendors. As I talk to people, I'll send an email link just as a, hey, thank you for your helping me out with that. By the way, here's a free service that might help you promote your business. And as a result, some of them have been added on here. And I will share with you, I'm not complaining, I'm just pointing out to show you my lack of concern. Here, I'm with the XP Realty, but this isn't even my listing. Mine's like down below, I think on the second page, because I want Executorium to profit nationwide. I have a whole team of agents across the country. I'm more focused on the overall system. All of you who are watching this should have your database. And the other thing I want to tell you is agents all the time will say to me, you know, I'm new to probate and I don't have a Rolodex of vendors in that area. So if I just picked an area from scratch, I don't know, where would I be? Tampa, Florida. I don't know that you have any particular
Hillsborough County, Florida.
Hillsborough County. Okay, so let's put in Hillsborough County just to pick a spot that is obscure, but I happen to know somebody there. Okay, no accountants, no appraisers. If you are looking to build your business in probate, one way might be to call accountants in Hillsborough County and say, hey, by the way, I'm a real estate broker focused on probate resources, but we have a resource that's free to promote your business called Executorium. Do you do accounting for trusts and estates? Yes, I do. I'd love to get a free listing. Either can I send you a link? Would you follow up on it? Or maybe put in for them, whatever it is. You notice we have some estate auctions. We don't have any estate cleanouts. You have estate sales, no grief support. I know there is plenty in Hillsborough County. There's no probate attorneys at all. And I've interviewed a couple. Actually, shame on me shame on Melanie Hands. Melanie, if you're watching this, let's get some of our attorneys in here. Probate attorneys, and you know the other group that you might put in here is estate planning attorneys, because even though I guess it may be estate administration services, even though it may be too late for somebody who passed, it's not too late to prepare for the executor for their estate, and they're of a mind to do something right then and there. If you're using an attorney to administer the estate, you might as well use that same attorney to create a plan for you going forward. They know a lot of your resources. Anyhow, that's the purpose of this tool, is for you to go out and bring value to your vendors by helping promote them for free, and they get the listings, and they may want to advertise or not. And that's a whole different discussion. But definitely everybody across the area. Now, where is this available? What states are you in, and what states are you not in?
So we are in all jurisdictions across the United States, including parishes in Louisiana. They don't call them counties in Louisiana; they call them parishes. In Connecticut, it's a little different. They're not. It's by district. In Alaska, it's by region, and there are independent cities. So we're across the United States, and the probably the thing that I wanted to point out was just as a point of clarification, we do provide a listing for free in your home county. So if your location is in Los Angeles County, you list for free. We're building a resource for executors. We had a lot of requests over the last 2 years with the previous website where it was not a possibility to say if you're an estate sales company, but you do estate auctions also, to list in 2 categories. Or if you're a clean out company that covers Bergen County and Hudson County, New Jersey, you can list in your home county, Bergen County, but you can't list in Hudson County. That is now an option with a small fee because we have to keep the lights on. And so that's an expanded capability. I just don't want people to call us on, well, you said it was a free listing. I'd rather overpromise and or underpromise and overdeliver than the reverse.
Well, it's a free listing. I didn't say multiple, so a free listing. And I appreciate it. And I think the thing that's why I do this call is to promote the program. I think it's if those of us who follow Probate Weekly all were listed and we all listed our vendors, we'd have a resource that we would control. We'd control all the business. Mm-hmm. And I think also we would limit the business to vendors that we thought were good. So we would all end up with better service and better service for our customers in the long run. So definitely an opportunity for all of us to participate. And I would just, and this is free. You can call all your vendors and offer them the listing and go through that process for free.
I think there's a point of critical mass, and I think we're just about there with the new website available. I want the probate savvy real estate professionals in this directory. Like I said, we're building a resource for executors. Your professional real estate or professional or realtor is great, has lots of skill and knowledge, but for as far as the specialty of managing probate and the circumstances of probate, that's who we'd really like to have. So, this is a great opportunity to put that call out and say, get in this directory, please.
And these are the categories that are in already. So definitely take a look at them. And if you have other categories, you're talking to the founder and the chef, the chief cook, the bottle washer. So if you have suggestions, feel free to reach out to him, and he's been
absolutely
responsible changes for that. Okay, so that's the directory. The next part is the government directory. Talk about that and what your thinking behind the government directory piece was.
Well, this is another element of the philosophy behind executorium. When I was done being an executor and it was all wrapped up, I and especially having now put a lot of time into executorium, years, in fact, I missed a lot. And I don't think I want executors to miss anything. So the government pages directory is there to scratch that itch, and you would put in your county, and then up will come information on, say the Warren County Surrogate's office in New Jersey and what resources they have. And they may have, so many of these jurisdictions have resources that you should read and be familiar with, tell you how to do your job and what the expectations are, what legal obligations are. You're a fiduciary. The state may as well. And, of course, the IRS has sections that, including the forms that you need to be familiar with as an executor. It's a job. So this is an education. It's not a how-to, but it is the reason I call the website a resource for executors, and it's open access. Executors can go in and out. There's no paywall. There's no registration. I don't want to, get hung up on that. I want them to come in and out, use the site like a resource, like a free library. So that's by design.
So I can tell you that if you were learning, and I get asked this question all the time, where do I start to learn about probate, let alone where to get business from? But maybe you're a realtor who has a business and wants to be more proficient to attract business based on your technical knowledge. The state pages in virtually every single state, I'm gonna just pick one out by random. Let's say Ohio. I don't know anything about Ohio, but let's just take Ohio, Ashland County, and see what the state has. Ohio State Revised Code. Look at that, Revised Code Chapter 13. There's actual code right there for free, man. Ohio. They don't mess around. So I would just say, and now this page isn't found, but of course you might find it.
I'll have to note
Also,
that link, Bill.
yeah. But my point is, start with your state laws and then your county procedures in whatever state you're in. And this is a great way to find it. And oftentimes I'll tell people to do that and they're lost. And here's a tool that will help you get there. But again, this is for the executor, it's not for the agent. I'm just telling you, agents and vendors, as you watch this, how to use this directly. It's designed for the executor to have them. And then you might want to go in on your own. What obviously I'm going to do with George, I just did, which is, hey, the LA County link isn't working. Doesn't surprise me. LA County has its own technical issues. The California State page is fantastic. Any realtor in California should not only go there, but also reference your customer there so they get a sense of what's involved in the process as well. So it's a fantastic resource. Now, articles, really, this is a collection more we would call a blog of different ideas. But I think, now I don't want to speak for you, so let me ask the question. I would imagine you would love to have people repost your blog posts on their social media, right?
Absolutely. Well, anybody watching knows how it works. The more shares you get, the more exposure you get, the more, chatter, and the more your brand grows. So, I'm not going to be shy about that. We're trying to grow this so that people are aware of it. I think at this point, it's clear how it can benefit an executor, how it could benefit a service provider. Maybe not quite as clear, but if you're just looking for content, if you're like, I should post something today, if your clients are executors, you can find something on Articles or the Athenium that can appeal to them and relate to them. The executor experience is kind of a mystery for people that are not in it. So this is tailor-made content that will resonate with executors. Some of it's very specific, some of it is very niche, but generally, asterisk, every estate is very different. But generally, you can have content that's relatable and usable and valuable to an executor, and that's your client.
And I think if I can just jump in real quick and say, so those of you watching who say to me, well, I don't know what kind of content to post, here's what I would tell you. Each week, read one of these articles, you'll learn, and then write a little bit about your experience. Either you think it's a great article, maybe you disagree with something, maybe there's something in that article that's true in one state, but not true in your state or location. Maybe you have a particular interest. For example, one of the articles I noticed was on hearing aids. Now, I don't have any particular connection, but I could imagine if your father had hearing aids or benefited from them, or maybe somebody lower income who had them donated would benefit from recycling the use of hearing aids. What a nice article. If it's real for you, don't make it up if it's not real for you, but if it's real for you. And so there's all kinds of content in here, really. Guns. I mean, I have guns. I've had states where people passed with guns that were registered, guns that were not registered, guns that were illegal because the serial numbers fell off. What do you do with them? So here's an article that I could read and then digest and then probably comment on, either sharing experience or drawing a distinction. So again, for those of you who struggle, what do I post my content? Here are 23 articles ready to go that you can take and then again, but read them and personalize the post. Don't just repost it or copy and paste it. Personalize the post and link to it. It'll get traffic there. It'll get people onto your social media as well. And the other option is, literally, this could be your almost script for a video, right? You could take this article, say, hey, I found a great article on Executorium on the alternate dispute resolution for states, other ways that you can resolve estates. And you can read through this article and talk about avoiding litigation, what mediation is, and speak from experience by having read the article, not sharing that it's your experience, sharing it's from Executorium, and then you almost have a script for your video if you're looking for content. I'm sorry, go ahead, George.
Yes, that's exactly my point. If a real estate agent is a specialist in probate, the value they'll add to my wandering through this estate settlement tour or duty or set of responsibilities is going to be much more valuable. If they can, tell me about some and help me solve some of the problems that I have. And executors have many. I call it the pile. I don't know why, but it's just it puts it's not a fine line. It's this big kind of vague, opaque cloud that you have to work your way through. And you have to call back your sister, and you have to go through this box or pile of boxes and the photo albums and the liquidation, and make sure the boxes are checked on the fiduciary responsibilities and the reporting and the legal and the this and the that. So any little piece of information that can be whispered in my ear as an executor, it'll save me from barking down, having to bark up a tree to find an answer, and that's not the right tree. So I have to climb back down the tree and bark up another tree. And then as executor, I had to do that over and over and over again. And an estate attorney is very valuable, but that only covers a percent of, really what you're up against. That's the legal element, the probate. But there's so much more to it. There's the liquidation. There's, for example, if you do start to get contentious in your estate, are you even aware that you can call a mediator and say, hey, please let's what are our options here for mediation? We're going to blow a ton of money on all of our attorneys, and we're going to ruin our relationships, and our family's not going to be the same. So, let's get in a room or on a Zoom and work this out.
You literally could be posting one of these a week and replaying those one of them as a video a week, and have your social media for the next month, 6 months set in ahead of time. Not only that, you also probably could approach George and offer content. My guess is you have accountants or attorneys, or you as a real estate agent have articles you've prepared or posts you prepared that he'd be glad to repost in some format or another. You could approach him about that to add to the material as well. So again, let's get creative here and think about how we can use this to support the customers that we all need together as a group. And then the last area of those four, again, we talk about the four squares of the front page, is the Athenaeum or the Athenaeum. So when I was at college, Athenaeum was the place they had speeches. They had, outside speakers would come in and talk. It was almost like a library was around it. So talk a little bit about the Athenaeum and what your vision of this is.
Yeah, the Athenaeum is a collection of resources or things you should know. So I approach it as, for the executor, what should be on their radar. For the let's say Delaware executor, we created an estate guide, so you're aware of electronic electronic assets, specifications, standards, statutes. What's the bar association in Delaware? What is the code in Delaware? What is what does Justia say about Delaware and probate? So all the things that is printed somewhere else, I don't need to repeat, but I want you to be aware of. You should be aware of as an executor. So it's an education. We also have our State Talks podcast transcribed and linked in the. I call it Athenaeum. I'm probably saying it wrong, Bill, but I don't know if I can break that habit now. But things that are interesting to an executor should be on their radar, can educate them, can help them, flatten the learning curve. Better for me to put it on there and and then for them to scroll by it rather than just not have it on there and just have it completely off the radar. I'd like people to know about what is out there and the resources that are out there to make the job a little easier.
And so the challenge I would issue to everybody watching this who's trying to build their business is, one, get yourself listed for free in whatever area you're in. 2, get your preferred vendors listed free. Why? Well, because if you email this link to a prospective estate, you're trying to get together with a probate family or estate family selling real estate, here's a resource. They're going to find your accountant. They're going to find your cleanout company. And they're all going to speak nicely with you. They're all going to work with you. It just makes the job easier to deal with people who are dealing with you. So I would urge all of you to, number one, get your listing in there, and two, at least submit it to your vendors. That's what I'm doing on this call. I'm urging all of you to participate. Those of you who are my competitors as realtors, accountants that I work with, the vendors, I email this out to everybody. Take advantage of the opportunity. And then two, if you don't have content, now I post Probate Weekly and other material. I have plenty of stuff I'm working on all the time. But when I coach agents trying to build their business, I'm constantly told they don't know what to post. And so here's the answer is go into Executorium, go to the articles, go to the Athenaeum, copy the material, either repost it, ideally add something to it. And then if you have some good material, feel free to approach George on posting it there as well to get your YouTube, your posts, additional reach is all. And that's the tool that we can use. So I'm going to take just a quick break here and do some housekeeping if I can, George, just to make sure you tell everybody where we're at. This is Probate Weekly. Oops, we went with that. We went this one right here. Probate Weekly. We do this every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for being with us, those of you on the East Coast, and every time in between and afterwards. It's also recorded live onto YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and other sources. And if you want to find it, go to probateweekly.com. I'm going to get there in just a second as soon as the stupid link pops up. Where are we at? The link's not stupid. I guess I am. Oh, why are you being difficult? That's so funny. There we go. There we go, probateweekly.com. And I just put in your email address, and you'll get reminders every week for our calls, as well as an opportunity to go to past other formats. We do it in an audio format. You can click on there, or past episodes on the YouTube channel as well. Love to have you participate and be in that. So, George, let's talk a little bit now about, we've talked about the tool, and I've said I think everybody here should be in the directory. I think everybody should promote it to their customers. I think everybody should be looking to repurpose the content. Let's talk about the business side. You are creating this. How much of your effort, obviously there's creating it and monetizing it, how much of your effort is distributing this information to prospective families to actually use this, or is it finding people on its own?
Well, it's a push element to it. One of the reasons that we completely tore down the old site and rebuild it was to replace the code. We learned a lot in the last 2 to 3 years, and realized what we weren't doing quite to our strengths. And one of those things was, taking advantage of the keywords and the metadata and the information behind the scenes. We built it with completely new code. For example, the estate service providers directory, people were getting found, but when I found the developer I have now, pointed out there were some structural things that we could take advantage of, such as not starting off with a filter and the service providers right off of the bat in the estate service providers directory, that we start with a blank page. You may have noticed the difference, and then they go into the county pages, and the county pages are now permalink fixed URLs rather than filters. And we just launched this, like I said, early in June. So it is June, and it is early June. So, time will tell on the results, but it's by design meant to get out into the SEO sphere, as it were, and reach executors based on keywords, based on what they're looking for. And then on the other side, on the other marketing methodology is, just, talking with folks like you, talking with Melanie Hands, talking with, anyone that is in this field, in this realm, and just letting them know, and accordingly talking with the different verticals, the auction industry, the estate sales folks, the probate folks, probate attorney folks, accountants, mediation, grief support, all down the line, just beating the drum that that we're here. So Rome wasn't built in a day, and we got to walk. You don't fly into flying. You walk into flying, and so it's uh, a new site that we're just really excited to see what it can do. It was a old Chevy, and now it's a nice new Lamborghini. So we're very excited.
Share a little bit, if you would. I think one of the strengths that you have is your personal skill on as a businessman in working with people, developing relationships, developing business. So if you were going to coach realtors, one of the biggest challenges real estate agents face is we're taught and you're used to door knocking or being an open house where consumers come to us, but to develop relations with business professionals is very different. So if you were going to coach a realtor, how would you recommend them to, let's say, use Executorium in a local area to reach out to accountants and estate providers and grief support? And you have enough different people where if you walked into a Chamber of Commerce meeting or you walked into a business networking event, half the people would be prospective listers on the Executorium. How would you recommend people to start that dialogue and begin the process of relationship if you're to coach them?
Well, realtors just have, real estate professionals just are by nature, they hustle, they're high energy, and they've just, you can any realtor that's got an easy job really isn't doing their job as a realtor. They're, you guys are some of the hardest working professionals out there. You have to be by its nature. I'd say that but we all suffer from the fact of, okay, I'm staring at my screen now and I'm kind of, my wheels are spinning. So and I really didn't think of this, Bill, and I give you a lot of the credit for pointing this out, but I started this as looking at it from the executor side. You've helped me see this from the service provider side. I know we needed service providers in the directory because that's who executors need to get from the alpha to the omega. So to see it from the service provider side is just instructive. It is a catalyst for reaching out, a pretense for calling that probate attorney, calling that accountant, calling your friend, the clean out person. Realtors need clean out people, and that can be a very symmetrical relationship, and one that can be very beneficial, mutually beneficial. So I would look for those relationships that you can exercise, and in the moments where we're just kind of seeing there, okay, what can I do right now for my business? This wasn't by design, but I can see the benefits of going into Executorium, looking in your county and seeing, potential relationships. Or I've actually had people from my previous turns on Probate Weekly, call me and say, reach out to this person, mention my name and invite them to Executorium. I know people have referred Executorium to their network, their friends from Probate Weekly, and I'm obviously very appreciative of that. I think it's wonderful. But for me, the bottom line is we're building an asset for executors. So the bigger it is, the stronger it is, especially the more like kind of networked in it is. And it's young, so there's a lot of opportunity for anyone listening to, establish their own network and imprint it in the county. Really, all I want is executors to, not have to suffer so much of that. Right. And that's where I came from. I came from being an executor and there being a lot of pain points. It's difficult. So I want to attenuate that.
Nobody wants to be solicited, hey, give me your business. We all want to be helped to solve our problems. And so you've created this as a tool to help the administrator who's overwhelmed with choices. And each of these vendors become tools to help them accomplish the job. And if we give them better than the average tools they would find on their own, we've helped them to some degree. And I think it's really important for us, and as well our vendors. I was talking to a estate planning attorney this morning, and we're doing some work together. And she said, well, how can we work together? I said, well, look, I know realtors call you every day and say, give me your referrals. I said, I know it doesn't work that way. The way it works is, apes in the business comes from realtors like me to you. I'd like to help you develop some more business. And we talked about some ways I can help her build her business. One I didn't mention, I should have thought of, was listening to Executorium. Because why? All I can do is give her more exposure, more links on her Google juice. We all want to get more people finding us. So one way is being listed in these things. And so I think the opportunity for real estate agents is in your market area, find the vendors who are going to really be of great value to the administrators that you want to work with, get them listed. And then when you talk to administrators, send them this tool as a tool to give them links back to your vetted and preferred vendors, and they'll get more business. They'll get better results as a result, and you will as well. Yeah. So George, what's the future look like? I know Executorium, I know you got your hands full. You just relaunched a new website. I'm sure your hands full with bug fixes and changes and requests and such going on from that. If you were to flash forward, where do you see this thing being 3 years, 5 years down the road?
Wow. Well, I have to go and fix that link you found that was a 404 page not found. So we got to. That's in the not too distant future. So in the short term, there are some bugs to be fixed. It's an extensive platform, so there's a little bit of that. Boy, my developers are great. As bad as my first developers were, and they did get it. They did get it done. There were just, there wasn't a lot of intelligence behind the kind of the dynamics of the search elements and the being found elements. Midterm, we're going to, launch campaigns into the different associations, the different verticals to just flesh out as much of the directory as possible and keep loading up content. And of course, selling ads. For example, like an ad in Los Angeles County is $30 a month. An ad in, I don't know, there's like some county in Texas, it's got like 63 people. That's $5 a month. So we've kept the advertising really, really economical. My priority has always got to be a resource for executors, not make a windfall.
Well, and as an advertiser, you can make your advertising more valuable. That's the thing that I always try to say to people when you advertise. You don't want to just buy somebody else's of traffic. If you can buy the traffic, but then you can add to it. So if you're going to buy whatever county you're in, and then you can add more listings in your area and get your favorite vendors in there, they're going to do business with you as well. It's a win-win for everybody. And so that's the key here is let's make sure that we're bringing in the best vendors so the administrators get the best service, and you in turn get business back from them as a result, and we all win. The rising tide will lift all ships. So George, again, from the day I met you, I thought this was a great concept. As you know, I've been behind as much as I can, and I really want to congratulate you on the relaunch or the new launch, the new version, or whatever you call it. I'm not that technical, so whatever it is, congratulations. It looks nice.
Thank you.
I'm sure there'll be bugs to be worked out, but that's anything that changes. And so I hope we picked a couple more to help the improvement process rather than to point out. Nobody expects to be perfect, but thank you so much for being on us again today. I think you're my first 3-time visitor on Probate Weekly. Really appreciate your support.
Well, thank you very much, Bill. I remember the first call I got from you out of the blue. I think I was driving through Manhattan. I think I was on 6th Avenue.
Yes.
And I had to pull over because I said, this is interesting. This is an important phone call. Let me focus on this before I smash into one of these cabs. And I can see myself sitting in that spot. And that was probably a couple of years ago. So thank you for all the support. I thank you to everyone listening, and really want to do my best to, bring to light, the certified probate expert designation and the people that can help my audience, the executor and the estates and the families.
I remember that phone call well. My daughter went to college at FIT down by Penn Station. And so when you told me where you were, I knew exactly where you were. I'd been like right through that block in New York City, I think about a month before. And we were going at that time when she was in college twice a year or so. So I remember that. It's been a long way since the phone call. I'm glad you took the time to get our attention. It's been a great partnership and look forward to seeing it grow going forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
And for the rest of you, this is Probate Weekly. We do this every Thursday live at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and then it's recorded live streamed on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Feel free to check it out there. If you want to check it out, go to probateweekly.com, www.probateweekly.com. You can get reminders there, scroll down, get it on audio formats, get past issues. We'd love to see you there. If I can help in any way, I'm at Bill Gross Probate on social media. Call, text, email, like this if you like it, subscribe if you like it. Look forward to seeing you soon. As always, make today your best day ever. Thanks, everybody. Thanks again, George.
Thank you.